Hello guys, my name is Engineer Ali. I want to solve this question or questions on domain and range of a function. And I want you to listen because the interesting part of these two questions is that they are rational functions. And I believe that you should know that for you to find the domain, it is a set of values of x, which is the actual input. And for you to get the range is the actual output, which is set of values of y. And when you are looking for the domain, you have to be very careful. That means you are going to look for x functions. Then when you are looking for y, you look for y set of y's. And then when you are looking for domain, you look for set of x. Then since it's a rational function, you then go and watch my previous video where we say that when you are given a rational function, then for you to find the domain of this function, it means that x minus 8 must not be equal to 0. So x minus 8 must not be equal to 0. That means the denominator of this function must not be equal to 0. Therefore, we're going to have s must not be equal to what? 8. So that means that 8, if you draw the number line, let's draw the number line from minus infinity to plus infinity, and let's locate it, for instance. Meaning that it is what? All real number except 8. All real number. All real numbers except what? 8. So in this case, what I'm going to do now is simply what? Take all the numbers here from this minus infinity to what? Less than 8, then from above 8 or thereabout to infinity. So that means that except 8. So that means that the domain is what? S is such that S is not equal to 8. And S is what? All real number. You understand? And so let me write it this way. X is all element of real number but not equal to 8. We can also write it in this way. Let me present it this manner. We can say that from minus infinity to 8 union, you open bracket, then 8 to plus infinity. So if you do it like way, you have gotten your answer for that. Now let us go to the next one. The next thing is say we have looked for the domain is to look for the range. Now how do we find the range? The range is what? We make x the subject of formula. And as you do that, your function will not be in terms of y. Now let's do that. So if we do that, what we want to have is this. So we are going to have cross multiply. Let's say y equal to x plus 3 all divided by what? X minus 8. So this one will replace it with y. Then cross multiply. We are going to have what? X, y, minus, that means x times y. Then y times 8 will give us what? Then equal to x plus 3. Now collect like terms by making x the subject of formula. We would have xy minus x equal to 8y plus 3. We bring this one here, become what? Then factorize y, basic mathematics. Then we're going to have it as s is equal to what? 8y plus 3 or over what? Y minus 1. Now what we want to do now to get our range, so this one now is now the new function. What we are going to do now is to concentrate on the denominator because it's a rational function, and the denominator of this particular rational function must not be equal to 0. So that means that we are going to have the what? The range as what? Y minus 1 not equal to 0. Therefore, y is not equal to what? 1. If you take this one here, we're going to have what? 1. So not equal to 1. So that means it's what? The range is what? All real number any number except what? 1. So that means if you draw all the numbers, we have 1 from minus infinity to plus infinity. What I want to have is simply, that means from what? Minus infinity to 1, then union what? 1 to what? Infinity. It means 1 is not included. If you see a bracket, like if I use this bracket, it means 1 is included. But for me to use this bracket open like this, it means that 1 is not included. We can also write it like what? Range is what? Is an element of R, but that means Y, sorry, it's a set of values of Y is what? An element of what? Real number, but Y is not equal to 1. You can put but what? Y is not equal to 1. So this will be our range answer, either this or this for this question. So I'll be able to solve the domain and the range of this function. So as you watch, please, if you are enjoying the video, just help me click the top up button and also subscribe. If you are a new subscriber or you are a new viewer, then if you are a returning viewer, thank you for watching. God bless you. Just make your comment in the comment section. Thank you very much. Now, we want to solve this, find the domain and the range of this rational function. Now, in this rational function, if you check the denominator very clearly, you will discover that the denominator is a quadratic function. In fact, a difference of 2 squared. So, in this case now, we are going to say x squared minus 25 must not also be what? Equal to 0. Therefore, I'm going to have x minus 5 into bracket what? X plus 5 must not be equal to 0. Therefore, x minus 5 must not be equal to 0, or x plus 5 must not be equal to 0. So, s is not equal to 5, and s must not be equal to minus 5. So, what we're going to do now, let's draw the number line indicating minus 5, then indicating 5. Let's draw a number line to what? To just what? Do our analysis to see the validity of this. Now, what we are saying now is that it can what? This thing will be what? All what? Real numbers. Numbers except what? All real numbers except what? Minus 5 and what? 5. So that means that 5, because if you put 5 here now, 5 squared is 25. 25 minus 25 is 0. And anything divided by 0 here, because if you put 5 here, it will give us about 13. Then 13 divided by 0 is undefined. And you cannot, that means that you cannot solve for domain and range under a condition of what? Undefined. So that means I'm going to have my range to be what? Minus infinity to minus 5. That means all these ones are what? Valid, but this one and this are not valid. So they will not be included. So you do a separation, union, then from this one between minus 5 and 5 is valid, 5 and 5 is valid, then union between this is also valid. It's a positive what result that is going to give us. So between 5 and positive infinity. So this will be your what? Your domain. Be your domain. So you can also say this is also correct. So you can say x domain x is such that x is an element of real number, but what? Or an x is not equal to minus 5, and what? S is not equal to what? Plus 5. So this one can be our answer for domain also. It depends on the interpretation of the question. Now let us go to the last part, which is the domain or the range of that function. I can clean this. Now what we're going to do now is simply just what? still make what? Y the subject of formula from here. So the x is subject of formula. So we're going to have it as what? Y equal to what? 2x plus 3 all over x squared minus 25, because f of x is taken as y. So now we cross multiply. So what I want to have now is what? X squared y minus 25y equal to 2x plus 1, 3. Now, having done that now, what we're going to do here, what we have done is just to multiply, cross multiply y multiplied by x squared. It was x squared y. Then y multiplied by minus 25, we have minus 25y. Then equal to that. Then what we will do is to bring everything here. So we would have x squared y minus 20, let's say minus 2x minus what? 25y minus 3 equal to 0. Now, why I rearrange that? First of all, bring this one over before considering this and this, because this one will be acting as constant. This thing can be written as what? This equation can be written as what? X squared y minus 2x minus 25y minus 3 equal to 0. Now, what we're going to do now is to what? Consider this equation under b minus b plus or minus square root of what? Or let's say, let's take the discriminant of this particular equation. But if you still want to do it this way, no problem. Let's see, b squared minus 4ac over what? 2a. So this our x, we are trying to make x a subject of formula. So follow me. So what we're going to do now is simply our a, if you compare them with as squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Our a is equal to y, b is equal to minus 2, yc is equal to what? Minus 25y plus minus 3. So that's what I want to have. Sorry, plus 3. Don't forget here it will be plus. If you factorize y out, you have plus there. So it should be plus. Sorry. Okay, let's go on now. Now we put minus what? Minus 2 plus or minus what? B squared is what? Minus 2 all square minus what? 4. What is our a? Y. Then minus 25y plus 3 all divided by 2a times 2y. Now what we want to look now is most of the times that this is what? 4 plus 4y minus minus is plus 4y into what? 25y plus 3. Now, what we consider here is that don't forget that this square root is on top, is on the numerator. Now, and since the square root is on the numerator, go and check my video. This function here should be what? Can only be greater than or equal to 0. It can never be what? Less than 0. If not, everything we have, because what we have solved for is x. It will just be giving us undefined. So this function, most of the times when you see question like this and lead to quadratic equation, take this particular part and take it to be greater than or equal to 0. You understand? So what I want to do now is we want to consider this to make sure that for it to be defined, for this thing not to give us, because the square root can never give us a negative number. The square root of this thing can never give us a negative number. But we want to now check. So through our formula. Now, let's see. 4 plus what? 100 what? Y squared. Because this size is 100y squared plus what? 12y is greater than or equal to 0. Now, what I want to consider here is that there is no particular, from what I'm saying here, there is no particular values of or value of y. No matter the value you choose for y, that this particular thing will give us what? Undefined. What I'm saying now is that let me put it inside the square root. Let me put it inside the square root so that you can see it. That means that what I'm saying now is that 2 plus or minus square root of what? 100y square plus 12y plus 4. Now, over 2y. There is no particular value that we are going to use here that will make it, because we don't consider this, we consider this, that will make this function undefined for y. Okay, let's try. If you choose minus 1, for example, this thing will still become plus 1. And 100 times 1 is what? 100. Then this one will give us 4 minus 12. Then plus 4. It will give us a positive sign. It will not, so any value you choose for y, any value that you choose to use for y, any value you choose to what? Choose to use for y, use for y. For y is defined for this particular function here, for this one here, inside the square root. Don't forget that in this particular function now, you cannot, there is no way any values of y can give you undefined. You understand me now? So what we are going to now say is that the range, which is a function of y, is that y is such that y is an element of what? Real number without condition. You don't consider this, I told you before. So therefore, our range is equal to, because why we don't consider this is because of we make the subject of formula from what we solve. And majorly, this particular part is what decides whatever range we are going to get. And if you check from what we saw, because this one I will say is not bad. If you check, this one is for domain is what? All real number. And the range is what? That means not all real number except minus 5. And domain is, range is what? All real number for what we are seeing now. It means that it's something valid. Is very valid. So that you know that if I said is undefined at 0, y equal to 0, it will probably cause the damage if you compare it with the word range. Because in this case now, if you compare it with range and the domain, so your domain and the range must align, must be in accord, and must satisfy each other. So in this case now, this one will not be what? Minus infinity plus infinity, because any value of y that you put here, that you substitute into this equation, will always give you a value that is greater than or equal to 0. So that is what I'm saying, and it is valid. Therefore, our answer for domain of range is what? All real number. And for domain is what? For domain is minus infinity to minus 5, close open bracket. That means 5 is not included. Union minus 5 to 5. Then you know what? 5 to infinity, not including 5 and what? That means all real number except minus 5 and 5. I believe you get it. Please make sure that you practice well and what? And probably ask questions as we go on. Thank you.